That one's going.
Oops, why did that happen?
Woo. Good morning. We're going to talk about the 7 Elohim and their twin flames, so 14 Elohim. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning of creation first, just to let you know what I know about the creation. Source created everything, the universe, the multiverse, the dimensions, everything. And in the beginning, one of the first things was the creation of light. And when God said, let there be light, and God is the source, the great central sun was created. And the great central sun is in the central part of the universe, which was created. And from the light that was first created, the Elohim were created. And the Elohim were the light and the sun. And, currently our sun, called the soul, is literally a extension of the great central sun. Every star that was created and put in the firmament was created by source energy. And each one of these stars has Elohim. And they are higher than 5th dimensional beings. Most of them are in the 11th, 12th dimensions. And they are very, very powerful. Now, how do I know the Elohim exist? Well, back in 2001, I was having severe chest pains, and I prayed because I didn't want to have open heart surgery, because they're pretty crazy surgeries, and they're doing things to your body that shouldn't actually be done. I actually helped Dr. Wilhelm back in St. Louis, Missouri, and he was one of the pioneers creating open heart surgery. And boy, I tell you, they bring out these big old saws and go right through the tissue. It's surprising that surgeons don't cause more damage than they do. But as I watched this and I participated in this, I knew I never wanted to go through that. And so anyway, I was praying at the time, what do I do about my heart? And I was told, you need to go to Half Dome. And I was like, where's Half Dome? It's interesting. And I talked to my dad, and he's like, that's at Yosemite, Yosemite National Park. He called it Yosemite because when he was in the military, they hitchhiked to Yosemite National Park, but they didn't know how to pronounce it. So they, as they were hitchhiking, they were wearing their fatigues. The guy that stopped to pick him up, he says, where are you going? He says, Yosemite. And the guy looked at him like, what? And he says, yeah, it's spelled Y-O, Yosemite, Y-O-S-E-M-T-I. And it was funny because the guy goes, oh, you want to go to Yosemite? Yeah. And so I was told by my dad, well, it's in Yosemite National Park. It's a big dome, and people hike that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm supposed to go hike this dome. And I put out the prayer, I need somebody to help me hike up the dome. So I was home teaching at the time. I was a member of the LDS Church and home teaching a guy named Jim Hignite. And I went over there and we got talking, and he said, yeah, me and my friends go to Yosemite every year, and we hike Half Dome, of all things. So there was my second witness. And so he said, will you go with me? Because my friends can't go this year. And I was like, sure, I'll go with you. Because I was told in my prayer I needed to go to Yosemite and go to Half Dome. This is a picture of Half Dome in the winter, a lot of snow on top and all around, and kind of interesting. So anyway, I made plans to go, and we ended up going in June, and beautiful time of year in Yosemite because all the waterfalls are just crazy with water and just beautiful place. And we started hiking up the mountain. My daughter and my son were with me, and we had been running and getting ready for this because Jim had told me it's a very rigorous hike, and every time I'd go running I'd get chest pain, and so I knew my heart was, you know, I was on the brink of having a heart attack. And I really didn't care because if I had the heart attack and died, at least I wouldn't have to go through open heart surgery. So anyway, we get hiking up, and what was fascinating is I was going through a divorce at the time, and I'd been told by Jesus I needed to get divorced, but I was of that thinking that you don't get divorced, and so it took Jesus coming to me to even start going through that. And as part of my heart problem was, my heart was broken, because here, you know, you marry for time and eternity in the Mormon church, and I thought to myself, geez, you know, this is breaking my heart, and it really was. And so we get about 2 miles up, and my daughter starts complaining, Dad, my left knee's just killing me. And so I said, sit down, let me see what's happening to it. So I put my hands on her knee, and I saw this black goo, and I saw that it was energy from her mother keeping her from moving forward. And it's interesting because our knees actually, you know, help move us forward. We can walk and advance, and the energy was in the left side, so it was feminine energy. And I said, Camille, you need to forgive your mother, and your leg will feel fine. And so as I was doing Reiki on her knee, and the second she said, I forgive you, Mother, boom, white light came in there, and her knee felt great, and she didn't have pain the rest of the hike. And then about two more miles, my son started complaining about his left knee. And he was really funny because he did not believe in me. He preferred video games over anything at that time. And so I said to him, well, Stephen, let me put my hands on there, and sure enough, that same black goo, and it was his mother's energy suppressing him from moving forward. And she was like that, and that was one of the reasons I was going to get divorced, because there was a lot going on in the family, and I couldn't control it as well as I wanted to, because she had her own agenda. And when you're not together as a team, as parents, things happen. So anyway, I looked at it and I said, Stephen, you need to forgive your mother. He's like, Dad, I don't believe in your crap. I want to go back down to the Muller home and play video games. And I said, Stephen, you gotta, this hike is for you too. It's not just for me, because we all need to be healed. And Camille piped up and says, Stephen, just say it, because my knee healed. So that was another witness. You know, we always get witnesses. And it was fascinating because as soon as Stephen begrudgingly said, okay, I forgive you, Mom, his knee felt better, and he actually made it to the top of the mountain first. And so we keep going, and about 2 miles from the top, I just start getting the most, I feel like an elephant sitting on my chest. My pain's going down my right arm, my legs won't move, I'm not getting any oxygen. My friend was a retiree of the LA Sheriff's Department down in Los Angeles County, and he was an EMT, and he looked at me and he said, Scott, you're having a heart attack. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. And he says, you need to lay down and stop hiking. I'll go up and have them send a helicopter up, or we'll get you to the hospital. And I didn't like that idea, because I did not want to be transported and have heart surgery. So anyway, I laid down, and he took off up the mountain with my son. And anyway, as I laid down, my daughter says I stopped breathing and started turning purple. And it was quite interesting because, you know, I didn't feel dead or anything, and I didn't notice I wasn't breathing, but I did hear a voice say, you need to take your energy back. And I was like, what does that mean? And the voice said, you're giving 65% of your vital force to your wife. And if you want to get off this mountain today, you've got to let go of that attachment and take your energy back. And I said, well, how do I take my energy back? And the voice said, just say, I take back all my energy. So in my mind, I take back all my energy. And all of a sudden I sat up, scared the heck out of my daughter that had stayed with me because she thought I was dead. And I told her, we need to get up there and tell them not to send the helicopter. I'm fine. And we started running up the mountain. Here I went from having this horrible chest pain, feeling like I was going to die, to just feeling better than I felt in 20 years. It was amazing. And so we're running up the mountain, and we get up to Half Dome. As you can see, it's a dome. And at the top where you have to go up the dome, it's literally almost straight up, and then it kind of levels out. And there's these cables up there, and people have put little foot things, but they don't work very well because those slip from under your feet, so you're having to use your upper body strength. And so I was going hand over hand as fast as I could, and all the people are watching me, and they're going, look at that guy go! They start clapping, and you know, I was going fast, and it was pretty amazing because I felt so much energy when I took my energy back. And I get almost the top, my friend's coming off the top, and he looks down and he says, Scott, how the hell did you get up here? And I yelled back at him, tell the park ranger not to send a helicopter, I'm just fine. And he just kind of looked at me, shook his head, and went back up, and I followed, and the guy at the top couldn't believe I got up there either after he heard the story. But what's amazing is I didn't know whose voice that was that told me to take my energy back and who healed my heart. And it was quite interesting because I came to find out the reason I had to go to Yosemite was Half Dome has the Elohim, Hercules, and Amazonia are in a sanctuary inside of that mountain. Now they're interdimensional, so you know they live in the crystals in Half Dome because it's a crystallized mountain. Pretty interesting information I learned, but it took a long time to get to that message. So Amazonia and Hercules are the Elohim of the blue flame, which is our throat chakra, and those Elohim. So actually, you know, our chakras are connected to the Elohim, and I'll explain why. Well, our light energy, after God created the light, it was divided up into different frequencies of light. And as our spirits were created, our chakras were created. And they were created by each of the 7 Elohim and their twin flames. And the twin flames meant that the energy of the Elohim was also divided into male and female. At first the Elohim were just one being, and then they divided into male and female, which became the twin flames, and this is the blue flame, Hercules and Amazonia. And I always wondered, well, why did I need to go to them to help my heart? And part of it was because I wasn't speaking my truth by not taking my energy back. It's interesting. I literally had to say it in my mind. And I kept saying it as I was running up the mountain too. And so by saying it, it creates it. So we're giving power by Amazonia and Hercules to create through what we say. Isn't that interesting? And that's so with each of the energy centers. Oh, wrong button. So, in the Summit Lighthouse organization created by Mark and Mark Prophet, I can't remember his name, his wife's name right now, but it'll come to me. But anyway, they had people draw drawings of the different Elohim because they actually brought forth these teachings about the Elohim. And so I didn't know what had happened to me, so I typed in on, somebody told me to go to this website and I would find out who the Elohim were that healed me. And I went to this website, there was pictures of them, there was stories about them, and where their sanctuary was. And their sanctuary was inside of Half Dome. So it was pretty cool learning this information. And so as we go along, there's other Elohim that we want to talk about. And the spiritual retreat of the Elohim Apollo and Lumina is located in the etheric plane over Lower Saxony, Germany. Here the Elohim of the second ray focus on the energies of the crown chakra of the planet. So they are literally, you know, indigo violet. They're the Elohim of the violet flame. And, excuse me, the crown chakra, sorry. And so they are the golden white light that comes down from the heavens. And Archangel Jophiel works underneath them. Okay, this is a depiction they have on the website of these Elohim, Apollo, and oh God, it's already floated, Lumina. Oh, I need to go back one. Okay, the next Elohim of the third ray, Eros and Amora, they focus on the energies of the heart chakra of the planet in their retreat located in the etheric plane over Lake Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Kind of an interesting thing. And so Eros and Amora, or strength and love, is basically, you know, the strength of the hero, and the energy of the hero is there. And it's the energies of the heart chakra. And I always wonder, well, why didn't I get their energy to heal my heart? And it was because, you know, I would have had to travel clear to Manitoba, Canada. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so another set of Elohim are Orion and Angela. And the pink flame out from the great central sun, pink, believe it or not, is pure love. And so they bring forward the pure love of the Christ consciousness. And boy, I better go back, because they didn't have a picture of these guys, so I couldn't find one, but they come out from the great central sun, and they do have a sanctuary here on the planet. And the one that I believe is it's fascinating, because they bring forth, you know, literally the pyramid point, the King's Chamber points to Orion. And Orion was one of the first solar systems created in the universe. And so they're very important for bringing forward the love to all the planets. Now, the retreat of Purity in Astria is located in the etheric plane over the Gulf of Archangel, the southeast arm of the White Sea, just north of Moscow. Kind of an interesting thing, hearing that there are Elohim in Russia. Now, a lot of people are really mad at Russia right now because of what our media has been lying to us about the Russians. Putin actually repented and became a Christian. He was a part of the KGB, and they did some very evil things, but he actually came back into the light of Christ, and he now is helping the Russian Orthodox Church be